Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Eagles Ice Center here smack dab in the middle of Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is Catholic Central boys hockey in game number 4 of the 2022-23 season. It's a traditional Thanksgiving Eve matchup against the Eagles of Grand Rapids Christian. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you again for joining us. After the fact tonight, the Wi-Fi was not good enough in the building to broadcast this game live, but we're bringing it to you on Cougar Puck Radio anyway. Maybe you can enjoy it with a side of turkey and cranberry sauce on the actual holiday this week or later on. The Cougars are in their usual home whites on the road, as Christian has elected to wear its black with Columbia blue and gray. This is the season opener for the Eagles. We'll see how they get up to speed against the Cougars, who come into this game with a record of 2-1. It's something in behind. In the far corner, falling down was Cam Loffer. Here come the Cougars. It's Berta relaying up to Outwater. Outwater, Westrick, and Schweiger to the starting line right now. Left behind at the point. Berta puts a shot on net in the first save of the season for sophomore Braden Malin, who played about half the year last year as a freshman, posting an .885 save percentage and a 3.45 goals against average. You saw at the other end of the ice, Trent Goheen makes his third start in 4 games for the Cougs, coached by Mike Slobodnik in his 13th season in charge of the club. Zach Westrick coming off a hat-trick performance against Kennewa Hills in a 7-2 win just this past Saturday at Southside. 2 road games this week. Tonight, this Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve against Christian, and then Saturday, just up the road at Griff's Ice House, Belknap Park, to face division foe Rockford. This is the first non-division game of the season as it shot wide of Goheen's net, put him behind the goal, and Colton Loffer couldn't drag it through to try to create a wraparound chance. It's dumped in deep from the left point. Goheen loves to play the puck, goes down to one knee, snaps it off the far side corner glass, where Nemesek takes it. He was tripped up from behind, but play continues on. Little home cooking here early on for the officiating at Eagles Ice Center. Looked to be a pretty blatant penalty. Led to a turnover as well. Right out in front of the net, Colton Loffer couldn't handle it. Nate Sova takes a bump to make the play and knock it further into the Eagles' end. Last year, the Cougars wiped out the Eagles 5-0 at Southside Ice Arena in Byron Center, of course. Grant Kuykendall had 4 goals and an assist. He factored in on all 5 Cougars strikes. This is icing against the Eagles. Christian last year had a similar record to the Cougars. Christian went 12-11-1 for a third-place finish in the OK Bomb Division. They outscored opponents by 17 on the year. Not quite as prolific offensively as the Cougars, but they did score 88 goals in 24 regular season games. Snap near wing by Fitzgibbon. Puck comes loose to Connor Schetz, who pumps it on goal. Soft shot there, but handled by Malin. And thanks again to Andrew Wormuth as we get the camera set up on the tripod. Kind of a scramble here. They started the game earlier than initially was announced. Well, it was supposed to be 7:45 coming into Tuesday. Then they changed it to 6:20. We ended up facing it off at 6:15. So Braden Bates lifts this up the near side wall. This facility, which used to be called Jolly Roger in a previous life, looks like a brand new building if you walk in and didn't know that. Goheen stops this to the side of his net as Henry Holloman handles this one. Senior defenseman jams it out of the zone with Loffer providing forecheck pressure. Drew Schweigert, knocked it forward. You're going to see Shane Kwiatkowski out there for the first time this season for Catholic Central as he's back after missing all 3 games last week, the opening week of the regular season. And there is Kwiatkowski, the senior, on cue, pushing it behind the goal to his defense partner Alex Sager, but he coughed it up on the near wing to Brady Basor. It's a familiar name for Christian hockey fans, but this the younger of the 2 Basor still on the squad. Cam Loffer has had a lot of the puck. Sophomore forward. Reversed the flow of the puck, and it's picked off by Westrick, who heads up ice. I mentioned coming off the 3-goal performance. Westrick into the outside and shoots, and a glove save by Mellon. Best chance of this first period for either side. Westrick scored 3 on the season. Mr. Zach Westrick has 7 points on the year, tied with Nolan Nemesek for the team lead. 4 goals, 3 assists. 4 goals in 3 games this year, matched his total, actually surpassed his total of 3 last season. What a great start for Westrick. And Nemesek, too. He's got multiple points in each of his first 3 outings this year, even in that 6-4 loss to West Ottawa 1 week ago. Parading down the left wing, Joshua Hopper stops up, feeds the point, couldn't handle it there. And now driven down low by Jake Eaton. Pardon, that's Josh Trent, I should say. Most of the Christian defenders have single-digit numbers, traditionally. That's how it has been in this sport. Colton Loffer turns away from pressure. He's knocked down to a knee. Good, strong play on the puck by Shane Kwiatkowski, the games played leader on this Cougars squad. Coming into the season, Kwiatkowski had played in 64 games. This is 4th varsity year. Long drive in from the blue line, easily handled by Goheen off the stick of Luke Aufman. The Cougars have won 3 in a row in the all-time series. I mentioned 5-0 last November. Trent Goheen also got the shutout that night. He had 13 saves. This is the first time the Cougars have been in this building since November of 2019, a 3-2 Catholic Central win. The only player on either side that played that night was, you guessed it, Shane Kwiatkowski. Holloman hammers it around the wall to the far side. Outwater pinned there, but he flipped it up, and now Westrick sends it almost the distance. It'll settle short of the icing line, where it'll be picked up by Jack Mikas, sophomore D-man on his weak side, now coming up the middle of the ice. Mikas, I should say, to the right wing, digs into the corner, bumped hard by Holloman. Mikas just sauntered his way into the attacking zone, then Holloman put an end to that. But he does make the pass out to the point for Miles Van Benen. Now to the line, Mikas fanned on the shot as he was confronted by Holloman, way out by the blue line. D-on-D hit. You don't often see it in that spot when the play's in the zone. Max Gavorkian getting in on the forward check, but he couldn't force the turnover. But Bates will take this at center ice, wait for his teammate. Actually, no, he'll shoot in. It's a delayed offside. The Cougars tag up with 11:59 to go in a fast-moving first period. Just a couple of stoppages so far. Schweigert pokes it away from an Eagle. Here comes Drew Schweigert off to a hot start as well. Cuts across the zone. Schweigert's got Westrick behind him. Instead, he flips into the corner, trying to go after it himself. It comes right back to Drew Schweigert. Still waiting for his twin brother Ian to get up to health and get ready to go. In the meantime, he's representing the family name well. Westrick with a turning shot. That never got through in front. Too many bodies, too many legs. Westrick one more time drags it in front. He was pulled down, and that will be a penalty against the Eagles. And Jake Eaton, who I think is the guilty man, can't believe the call, but it's going to be a 2-minute minor put on the board with 11:26 to go in the first period. Miles Van Benen gets dinged for the hook. First penalty of this game. Van Benen has the seat. Van Benen actually a West Catholic student. This is a co-op team for Christian, in case you're not familiar, including students from West Catholic, Coopersville, and Cedar Springs. The Cougars' power play on the year, 5 for 14, including a 4-goal performance against Kennewa Hills last time out. And this is the first game of the season, so we have no data on the special teams for the Eagles, of course. I should say the first game for the Eagles, not for the Cougars, as I was saying. A turnover, and Colton Loffer slams it down the ice. There's Colton and Cam Loffer on this Eagles team, so I'll try to differentiate. Turned over in the middle to Colton, but he couldn't make anything of it. So Braden Bates, he's got 4 points in his last 2 games. Bates, first-year varsity man, bounces this one in on goal, and an easy, calm save made by Braden Malin, who looks rather unflappable early on. Made that glove stop on Westrick just a couple of minutes ago. You're watching on Cougar Puck Radio. The vast majority of the games we do have live for you, but not tonight. Had to go with the tape delay option. Last year I did broadcast from Griff's Ice House, so I should be able to have that for you against Rockford on Saturday. Wrist shot from the point by Nemesek. He's been playing that right point on the power play. Sova, a low shot, and that's patted away and deflected in the near corner and cleared. So Malin's made a couple of strong saves as the Cougars start to pepper the goal. Brendan Farmer was in hot pursuit for the Eagles, but the pass goes right by him, but off the stick of Ryder Mulvey, who chases into the far corner. No icing as he got a piece of it. On it now, Sova, swerving around defenders. Sova in behind the net on his forehand, made the pass to Holloman, but it skipped under his stick. That might have been deflected by Smith. Or pardon, that's Josh Van Scheppen, the junior, veteran varsity player. Sova hands off, far wing shot by Holloman is gobbled up again by Malin. The Cougars power play had a tough start last Wednesday, 0 for 3, including a major penalty misfire at West Ottawa, but since then it has been quite good. You factor out the opening game, and they're 5 for 11, nearly 50% since then. Realize you can't pick and choose, but it's been hot lately. Shane Kwiatkowski, wrist shot. He's a power play maven as well. That one never got through. I don't think Malin got a piece with the glove. Back out to Kwiatkowski on the feed from Westrick. He makes a move, gets around a man. Kwiatkowski right in with a low shot that's patted out again by Malin. Well, he's equal to the task early on. The Cougars are testing him left and right. Kwiatkowski showing off those hands and great skating. 13 seconds to go on the hooking penalty to Van Banen, and it's blasted down the ice by the Eagles. The Eagles last year beat Jenison in the opening round of the regional playoffs 7-1, but then lost 5-2 to Granville. Kwiatkowski all the way, another kick save by Malin. He's the star of this game so far. 9:10 left in the first. No score, power play's over. The Cougars are 0 for 1 tonight. Nemesek on the shovel, on his backhand. Outwater sends it along, right back in the clutches of Outwater as he's run over. High in the zone, spun out of there by Landon Smith of Christian, and all the way down it goes for an icing. So Catholic Central downshifts a bit in terms of volume this week. They had 3 games last week, one of the rare 3-game weeks. 2-game Thanksgiving quote-unquote vacation here this week. They'll have tonight and they'll have Saturday at Rockford. The Cougars have scored 19 goals in their first 3 games, including 15 in the last 2. They shot 55 times on target against Kennewa Hills. Of those 19 goals, 8 Cougars have at least one, as this one skids right in on Malin. He'll keep for another whistle and another stoppage in play. This is Matt Gajtka on the play-by-play, bringing it to you at the start of my 2nd season on Cougar Puck Radio. First time in this facility, though, whether it be to call a game or play a game. I've heard good things about this spot. Holloman fed it to Sova, turning back into his own end to reset things. Sova looks up, passed it too far for Mulvey. That appeared to be deflected, but no, it's ruled to be an icing call. And there's a penalty on the board, pardon me, another penalty to Christian. Jack Mikas is in the box. And that call was made with 8:40 left in the first. So I totally missed that one. My apologies. The power play is on for the Cougars. I was wondering why Sova was doubling so far back in his own zone. You don't see that very often at 5-on-5 play. I have my answer. It's not 5-on-5 play. Unfortunately, I am not piped into the PA system, so I missed the penalty call. The headphones are great, except in these circumstances. It's an attack zone faceoff for the shorthanded Eagles, but Farmer lost the draw to Zach Westrick, who parades out of his own end. Look out, ran into resistance there in the form of Josh Van Scheppen. Cleared across to Bates. He has some room, does Braden Bates. He can skate too. Makes a feed that's deflected over on far wing for Westrick, who looped over to the far side. Westrick trying to jam it in front. That was stymied. Now he's spun around, bumped off the puck by Colin Peel, the defenseman. Peel to Brendan Farmer, who finds some room and an avenue up the near side to clear the puck. 7:50 and ticking to go in the first period. Second power play for the Cougars. Now 5 for 15 on the season, 33%. Sova heads up ice. Nate Sova to the outside. He was held off the score sheet last time, but still 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points in 3 games. Not that he's slacking, it's just there's a lot of players on this Cougars team with 3 and 4 and more points so far. That happens when you score 19 times. Holloman doubling back. Well, it's been a stiff challenge so far from the Eagles, but their goaltender, Braden Malin, has been the best player in black. Sova with a redirect up ahead into the attack zone. It's all the way back behind the net. There's that man, Malin, on his backhand with a big goal stick. Actually gave it away to Sova in the near side corner. Mulvey taking it behind the net. Mulvey scans his options. Left it there for Bates, right to the front, and missed the goal. 4 seconds left on the penalty to Mikas. He's coming out of the box. Look out, it's poked free. And out of the box comes Rabbers. Rabbers off the bench, pardon me, replacing Mikas. Snap near side. Wrist shot coming from the outside through traffic by Luke Alfman. It's deflected out of play. Alfman and Trent, the D pairing there at the end of that penalty kill sequence. So as what often happens, defenseman in the box, he'll go right to the bench in most circumstances to be replaced by a forward because in almost all cases, teams kill penalties with 2 defensemen already on the ice. So to avoid confusion, you just make that change as you step out of the box. Preston Berta on his backhand. Lost control, but here's Connor Schetz, the senior forward, to jam it down the rink. That's icing against the Cougars. Haven't had too many icings so far in this game, which has been a pleasant departure from the last couple. And honestly, the Cougars were just putting so much pressure on. Their opponent was icing it a ton the last 2 games they played. The 8-0 win against Granville ended up a mercy rule game with Mulvey scoring the clincher early in the 3rd period. 10 seconds in fact. And then I mentioned the 7-2 win against Kennewa Hills. The Cougars essentially led by 3 the whole way. They scored 3 in the opening 4 minutes, and it never got closer than that. Van Banen can't come off the wall with the puck. Preston Berta up to Colin Hoffer, one of the co-captains. He and Shane Kwiatkowski, so for the first time this year, a couple of C's being sported on the ice at the same time for Catholic Central. Lead pass, Berta had that measured, but it bounced right over his stick. It'll head down deep. Didn't get deflected by anybody, apparently. That's an icing against Christian. The next time the Cougars will be at home, by the way, is not this Friday, but the next Friday against Forest Hills Central in another OK Conference non-division matchup. So after 3 straight division games to start the season, the Cougars are going to play at least 3 out of the next 4. Actually, 5 of the next 6 at least will be, out of their division. Centered in front, and nearly a chance there for Smith, but he couldn't take the pass. The freshman West Catholic student had to bounce off the heel of his stick. Most of the West Catholic players on this Christian co-op team are not available tonight because, well, they're playing in a pretty big football game coming up this weekend. The state championship, in fact, for Division 6, I believe it is, as Kwiatkowski cradles this puck and gave it away just outside the line. Basor breaking in, but his teammate Cam Lawfer did not clear the zone. That's offside. But anyway, as I was saying, 4 players for the Eagles, including their leading returning scorer, Danny Grushkevich, a senior, are unavailable. Also, Colin Wildman, who scored 8 points last year, unable to play tonight. Max Wildman and Nolan Reinhardt, a senior. So the Eagles are missing some big guys, most notably Grushkevich, and the Cougars trying to take advantage of that. Good hit by Nolan Nemesek to send an Eagle flying. Puck comes loose on the near side. Banged off the wall by Bates. Held in at the point. Wrister deflected coming from Alfman's stick. It's been a pretty calm night for Trent Goheen. Not a lot to speak of in terms of rubber on net with just 4.5 left in this first period. Sova tries to interrupt this breakout for the Eagles and does. Play bogs down the near side wall. Sova couldn't drag it by a man in black. Berta does a great job to pin this one to the wall. Berta closing and shooting, and that's blocked at the point of attack. Alfman got in the way of that. Redirected high out in the zone wildly. Nemesek handles it, but his pass deflects away from Sova. Powered down the rink again by the Eagles, and again it's an icing against the home team with 4:02 left in the first. Trent Goheen so far this season in the Cougars net with a record of 1-1. He's allowed 6 goals in 2 appearances, all 6 against West Ottawa, as he picked up the shutout, albeit an abbreviated one, against Granville last Friday. Hooper gave it away, and Luke Goheen's shot was stopped. Another glove save by Malin. That glove hand, you may not want to test that anymore. He's been solid with it. Luke Goheen again. Freshman first-year varsity player. Gave it to Holloman, but it drifted off his stick as he tried to break up ice. Mikas being pressured by Sam Moore. The pass to flex pass, Luke Goheen. 2-on-3 rush for the Eagles, and broken up. Miles Van Banen unable to make anything happen against that Cougars back line. And here goes Holloman again on the puck retrieval. Tapped it away from the on-charging Van Scheppen. Shane Kwiatkowski gets his legs moving. Relayed by Luke Goheen. He throws his head back in disgust as he turned it over, but he still was able to get off the ice as it wasn't in a terrible spot. And the Eagles couldn't move it up the zone in any meaningful fashion. Kamlofer handed it over. Westrick with a chip to an open wing. The race is on. Peel tries to play it. He's run into and run over by Braylon Outwater. Outwater with 8 points on the year, including a team best 5 assists. Snapshot from the angle by Schweigert, who cut around the face-off dot. But Malin handles that with the trapper once more. 2:34 to go in the first. Still no score. Or as my broadcast professor from college would say, there is a score. It's 0-0. There isn't no score. Sometimes you just got to be a stickler for a stickler's sake. Late change for the Eagles. Van Banen to take this draw. Well, no, he's not. It's going to be Brennan Farmer instead, who attends Coopersville High School. Schweigert shot it low, and again, Malin, leaning on that glove, holds it. Farmer's the only player from Coopersville on this team. Josh Trent, junior defenseman, attends Cedar Springs. Those are the only two that aren't from a local Catholic school. I'll put it that, or pardon me, a local parochial school. Put it that way, as West Catholic has joined forces here with Christian. Pass to the middle. Schweigert, can he turn it over for a shot? No, he can't. But he collects it behind the net. Spinning back. Handing off. Outwater to the point. Sager goes across to Kwiatkowski, who lofts it deep. Nice job by Schweigert to pick a pocket of an Eagle behind the net, and he centered it looking for Outwater, but it's off a stick and cleared by Christian. Bates on the give. Outwater charging ahead. Those trademark wheels. Outwater pried it loose, but it came right to Colin Peel in front of his net. He flopped it up the far wing. Braden Bates broke up that attempted play by Smith. Still loose in the Cougars' end. Down to 1:37 to play in the first. Student section down to our right. Let's come out in full attendance for Christian. Snapped off the near side. Wood, and here comes Mulvey. Maybe a 2-on-1 if he can hustle. Mulvey got it to an open man. Walking in, Nemesek, backhand. He missed the net. It rolled off his stick. That puck just wouldn't behave at the moment of truth. Bates shooting intentionally wide, looking for the stick of Sova, but that didn't work. Down to 1:10 to go. So Nemesek with a breakaway from 30 feet in. Had Malin beat, but the puck rolled on him. Bates at the line, holds right on that blue paint. He shot it below the goal line to Nate Sova. On the exchange with Nemesek, trying to make up for that miss. Nemesek left it behind unintentionally and driven around by Alfman. Bates keeps it in at the point. Braden Bates once again on the spot. 40 seconds left in the period. It's Nemesek shooting right into the belly pad of Malin, and he stops the music with 38.6 seconds to go in the first. That setup came courtesy of Nate Sova from below the goal line. Sova wearing number 15, as his older brother Gabe did, as his father Lynn did when he played for Catholic Central. 15's in the family. Now it's been worn 3 times by a young man with that surname. Sharp angle chance, Goheen. Hopefully not falling asleep back there as Smith was denied. 25 seconds to go in the period. So the Cougars imposing themselves but unable to get a goal yet. Flipped deep by Outwater, but from behind the red line, and he knows it. It's icing with 20 seconds remaining before the first intermission. It is a nice crowd in here at the Eagles Ice Center. Not too many seats to spare. I'm standing up here on the top row. It's also raised the temperature. Funny how that works. You get a few bodies in the building. It was a warm day by recent standards, though. Got up into the low 40s with some sun. Can hardly tell we had a huge snow event last week. Mulvey gathering this one in, but he's pressured hard by Farmer behind the net. Mulvey turning this way and that, looking for some room. Nemesek looks to the clock down at the far end to see how long he has to sit on this one in the corner. It's down to 2 seconds, and nothing's going to come of this scrum. The buzzer sounds. Time runs out in period number 1. So through 17 minutes from Eagles Ice Center, your score, Catholic Central, nothing, and Grand Rapids Christian, nothing. We'll be back after this break on Cougar Puck Radio. The Cougars are back on the ice in anticipation of the second period from a jam-packed Eagles Ice Center. This is Matt Gajtka broadcasting, I was going to say live, but we are not live tonight. The quality of the internet wasn't such where I could actually stream this game as it happens. So we're coming to you on tape delay for the first time this season. Andrew Wormuth, class of 22, is again being joined by Gabe Sova later today from that same class to help out with the camera work. So again, thanks to those young gentlemen. Plenty of shots on goal in the first period. Double digits, in fact, for Catholic Central, but they could not beat the sophomore goalie, Braden Malin, who last year had a 4-3-1 record, but a save percentage under 900, according to the Grand Rapids Christian official stats. Trent Goheen, meanwhile, only faced a couple of really good opportunities, but just as important as what Malin's done at the other end, Goheen has stopped all of them so far as well. Grand Rapids Christian is going through the process here in their opening game of the season of figuring out who's going to do the scoring for them. They graduated 2 seniors in Hayden Zimmerman and Isaiah Clark, who combined for 93 points last year in 24 games. So that's going to sting, and also they're missing their third leading scorer from last year, Danny Groshkevitz, who had 24 points. He's out because he's still playing the football season for West Catholic. So, all right, it is about the foot soldiers, the depth players, and maybe some up-and-comers. There always are some of those for Christian. The face-off is taken, and we're underway with the Cougars defending the goal down to our left now in this second period on the fresh sheet. Here's Shane Kwiatkowski. The Cougars missed his presence. Kwiatkowski trying to go through everybody, but he's bumped off the puck at the last second by Jake Eaton. At the end, he was looking to split a couple of defenders with a forward back checking. Now Westrick, shooting score! What a shot down the right wing. And we ride tonight to the guitar bite. Listen to that Cougars crowd cheer. Everyone on this side of the stands from the right blue line all the way to the end wall is in Cougars colors, and the students are out in full force. Zach Westrick scores his 5th goal of the season and his 4th in the last 2. When he let that snapper go, I thought that's got a chance to get by the blocker hand. Maybe that was key. Shooter on the blocker side of Braden Malin. The glove was too good. So the Cougars have the icebreaker with 16:28 to go in the second period. Westrick's 5th. And he ties Braylon Outwater for the team lead in points. They each have 8. Here comes Soba now, galloping ahead, but the puck's tipped off his stick. It is 1-0 Catholic Central. The puck flipped into the screen on the near side. Gives me a chance to update the score. Sorry about that. The Cougars on the road for the second time this season. They lost 6-4 at West Ottawa a week ago tonight out in Holland. Tonight in the southeast quadrant of Grand Rapids, just off 28th Street. Holman shoots, he scores! Through a screen, Malin never saw it as he waved the glove at it too late. Henry Holloman has his 2nd goal in 2 games. And the Cougars are staying hot offensively after a tough opening period. A lot of frustration on the attacking end. The first 2 shots of period number 2 go in. 2 goals in 16 seconds. How about that? Holloman scores it off the face-off win. And it was a clean one, I believe by Mulvey. So he'll get the primary helper on that. And do you think there were enough bodies in front of the net? As Malin, like I said, just never reacted to it until it was whizzing past his ear into the top right corner. PA's a little blunted here. I can't quite hear it as this puck is melted down by Malin at the side of his goal. Maybe a little shell-shocked after giving up 2 in the opening minute of the second period. Now listen for the assist on the second goal. I have it as Holloman from Mulvey. Didn't have an assist on Westrick's score, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least one. So here's Kwiatkowski. Remember, he set the tone for the second period, taking on the whole Eagles team with the puck. Nearly got all the way through. But after that, the Cougars have pelted Malin and gotten a couple past him. Glides in on Goheen, who bangs it away from the side of his net off the end wall. He had Farmer in pursuit. Farmer's been an effective forechecker for Christian so far in this game, even though it hasn't borne any fruit yet. Malin does the same thing that Goheen just did, spun it behind his goal. A little bit later than Goheen did, though. That was cutting it close. And this is icing against the Eagles. You're watching on Cougar Puck Radio. Remember to like and subscribe. In addition to broadcasts, live and otherwise, we have highlight packages after every game that we send out to the good folks at YouTube for you to view. Westrick, his 5th. Holloman, his 2nd. That's how the Cougars have gotten to this 2-0 lead, trying to improve to 3-1 on the season and beat an old friendly Thanksgiving Eve rival. Van Banen drives wide. He wanted to go short side, top shelf. I think Goheen might have gotten a piece of that. Goheen definitely has this one measured as he gloves this across his body on the point shot from Cam Loffer. Goheen keeps it. Well, Christian appears to be a hard-working, pretty quick team. But like I said, they lost a ton of scoring last year. I think it was 4 of their top 5 scorers in all that graduated, which happens quite a bit, obviously, in high school sports. You got to figure it out and regroup. Jam try at the front. Loffer had to drift off his stick. That's Cam Loffer again. Not to be confused with Colton Loffer, both forwards. Colton scored 11 goals last year, so he's one of the guys that the Eagles should be looking toward, number 10. But number 5, Cam, in his first varsity year, is looking pretty good out of the chute. Icing against the Cougars this time. That brings the faceoff back down to our left with 14:27 remaining in an already eventful second period. I don't want to say it's a half and half crowd here at the Eagles Ice Center, but it's at least 40-60. Cougars with the 40%, Eagles with the 60. And this the home opener, the season opener for the guys in black and gray and Columbia blue. Coached by Sean Zimmerman. I did not mention that in the first period. Westrick takes a bump here. Spencer Berg took the body, not the puck, but turned over to Westrick. Got a man back door, and Outwater flubbed it, put it just wide. Malin lost his stick in the attempt at the save. He didn't have to make one, as it turned out. Basor cutting inside, save, but Goheen. Rebound was available, and Smith couldn't shovel it home. It handcuffed him. Now by the line, a backhand in deep by Alfman. Goheen again gets his stick to it. I don't think I noticed until early this season how much he loves to play the puck. He's amped it up a little bit this year, I think, even from last year. Alfman shot it, blocked in front, loose puck, score! On the follow-up, Christian has their first goal of the season. And it's a garbage time kind of goal. Go in front, bang it home. Couldn't tell who got it, but the first man through the handshake line was Josh Trent. Brady Basor was also around the puck, too. So Christian scores with 13:32 remaining in the second period. The Eagles have some pushback, as you knew they would, at home here tonight. Like I said, they've been tenacious. It just hasn't been the case where they've created that many grade A opportunities. The puck slips past Peel's stick at the point. They do give the goal to Trent. The defenseman seized his opportunity, sensed something there that the Cougars were scrambling a bit, and they were. That's why coaches love for you to shoot the puck, because it makes defenders turn around, look for it. It throws everything off kilter. Trent's 6th career goal. I mentioned he's the only Cedar Springs student on this team. Shane Kwiatkowski trying to pop it over to Luke Goheen on the cut inside, but that's broken up. And now the Eagles. Hooper ripping well high. Might have been deflected. I'll be ready for a further push from Christian. Trailing just 2-1. The Cougars scored the first 2 goals of this game. Back to the line. Peel took the shot, never got through. Blocked out in front. Bates trying to hack this one free, and he does. Good stick from Braden Bates to free it up for Luke Goheen. But his shoot in was from behind the red line. That's an icing call. Just needed one more stride. It would have been fine. Luke Goheen, a freshman. The only freshman, in fact, on this squad this year for Catholic Central. 1 freshman, a couple of sophomores, Bates, Henry Kwiatkowski, Brody Potter. I haven't seen Henry Kwiatkowski, in fact, out there tonight. He might not be dressed. Try to confirm that for you. I know we've seen Alex Sager. Here's an intercept by Nolan Nemesek high in the defensive zone. Nearly turned over to Dane Fitzgibbon, but now handed right back to the Cougars. Van Banen with Fitzgibbon in tow, but those two cough it up to Preston Berta. He hits Sager and redirected ahead by Nemesek. Chasing this one in is Mulvey, and if this were a hybrid icing league, that would have been okay, but it's just a flat, no-touch icing. Doesn't matter where the attacking player is. That's why the play is blown dead there. If you watch a lot of NHL games, or really most other levels of hockey have gone to the hybrid icing, in which you can win a race to the face-off dot or whereabouts. The linesman's supposed to try to figure out, is it going to be a close race for the puck, basically, by the time you get below the goal line to retrieve it. Trent, the goal scorer, goes cross rink. Alfman couldn't get the shot through. Blocked out high by one of the alternate captains for the Cougars, Nate Sova. Spun a pass in front to the Eagles, but it's intercepted by Sova. Looks up ice. He does gain the red line this time. All right, so we corrected that little flaw. Given away by Malin, right to Mulvey. Couldn't get the centering pass through. Nemesek blocked that attempted exit. Nemesek again lifts it below the goal line for Sova. Cougars have something going here. A centering play for Nemesek on the attempted give and go. But that's off a stick, I think, of Malin, the goaltender. This is angled all the way down the rink to our left, and for an icing call against Christian this time. All 3 goals in this game have been scored here in the second period. This is Matt Gajtka live from Eagles Ice Center, the one and only game the Cougars will play here. It's their first game here in 3 years, almost to the date. As I mentioned at the top of the show, these two teams always play on the night before Thanksgiving. One of the bigger, I guess you could say, party nights of the year, too. Not to give anyone any ideas. Is Outwater couldn't pry this loose from the skates of Peel, and out with it come the Eagles. Striding ahead, Landon Smith. Pulled up with it. Got around Holloman. Smith tried to hand it off, but that's taken away. Outwater up the middle, given away to Cam Loffer. Some chaos high in the Catholic zone, and now blasted right back in by Grand Rapids Christian. Delayed offside here. Finally, the Eagles tag up. Bates giving to Westrick. One touch ahead. Outwater hacks it on net as he was slammed to the sideboards. Malin keeps it for the whistle. 10:17 left in the second. This game was initially scheduled for 7:45. We're still well short of that number. We're going to be through 2 periods by 7:45. Always okay with playing earlier. I think both schools had today off as well, so hey, why not get this thing going? Kwiatkowski run into at the point by Alfman trying to flush it out. He does. It comes off to Miles Van Banen. Charging right side. Moving quickly, but he's mashed in the speed department by Brody Potter. He flicks it loose, but now up for grabs high in the zone. Picked up by Shane Kwiatkowski on the carom. Couldn't clear. Spencer Berg creeps up. Berg looking to send this one to the front, and that's intercepted. Potter looks on as the puck drifts over to his teammate Gajtka. And Shane senses an opportunity here to rush the puck again. Gajtka all the way through and out of the outside as the puck slipped away from him on the bump from Jake Eaton. Schetz helps to join the forecheck and cleared all the way down by the Eagles. Another icing here. .9:19 to play in the second period. These two teams had very similar records last year. The Eagles finished at 12-11-1. The Cougars ended up at 13-12-1. The Cougars have a policy to play tough out of conference, out of division competition, and this game is included in that, of course. Van Scheppen is fouled by a cross-check. No call there. No penalties so far in this second period. Not to jinx it, but we're 8 minutes in. A deflected pass ahead. Westrick is chasing it here and knocked away from him by Trent, at least briefly. But Westrick gets it again. Westrick, who scored to make it 1-0 at the very start of this second period. Now Sager couldn't hold the point. Brendan Farmer looking, feeding a shot, goes wide of the net on the one-timer. What a chance for Smith. Right between the circles, but he couldn't get it on line. Shot it hard enough, just pulled it. And again in the corner, it's Peel. Kamelhofer, I should say. These gray numbers can be a little tough to read for Christian. Another penalty on the way, our first since the first period. Delayed call against Catholic Central, I'm imagining, as they haven't touched the puck in a while, and the referee's arm is in the air. There is Outwater fishing it out and getting the stoppage with 8:10 left in the second. The first penalty of the game against the boys in white. And who will it be? Henry Holloman. He's already had a couple of penalties to his name on the season. So he goes away for 2 minutes. And the Cougars test their penalty killing unit, which so far is quite good. 9 for 10 on the year, including back-to-back perfect games after allowing 1-on-4 chances against West Ottawa. Interference is the call against Holloman. So the Cougars are missing, no small thing, one of their top penalty killers as well. They'll have to make do without it if they want to maintain this lead. 2-1 with exactly 8 to go in the second period. Christian controls. Alfman slips it over to Farmer. Didn't like what he saw, so he pulls it back out. Luke Alfman again. Cross rink, looking for the return pass. Gets it at center point. He's quarterbacking it right now. One-timer blocker save by Goheen and cleared down the ice by Mulvey on the one touch. Farmer got that shot away from the left circle. Good pressure here by Nemesek. The puck deflects off his knee right back into the Eagles' end. Cougars get one fresh body on. That's Outwater replacing Mulvey. 1:14 to go in their first shorthanded situation of this Thanksgiving Eve collision with Grand Rapids Christian. Catholic Central putting the pressure on. They've got a couple of shorthanded goals this year, including Westrick's hat-trick goal last time out where he won the faceoff to himself. Posted that one on Facebook on my Matt Gajtka media page for all to see. That's MATTGAJTKA. That's how you spell that. I'll try to cut some special plays throughout the course of the year in addition to the highlight packages. Micah sent it up ahead. High wrist shot goes well over everything, and it deflects off the corner boards. Outwater's chasing it back down to our right, all the way in on the goaltender, and he nearly put it in as Malin was really taking his time, and Malin took the worst of that collision, unintentional as it was, although Outwater's getting talked to by Trent. That always happens when a goalie gets run over, even though it was the goalie's fault in that case. He just didn't make the play fast enough. Malin is up and on his skates. Still 28 seconds to go in the power play for Christian. But that was a rolling puck. That's dangerous there. Unpredictable. You never know how it's going to react when it hits your stick. I suppose especially if it's the big goal stick carried by the netminders. And Outwater almost pulled off the sneak attack, if you can call it that, even though Malin obviously saw him coming, but probably didn't think that he was going to be that aggressive. 6:37 to play in the second period, more than halfway through this one, at least halfway through regulation. Catholic Central has not played an overtime game yet. And the Cougars coaching staff was asking for an offensive zone faceoff, and they get it. Mike Slobodnik, the head man, assisted by Joel Kwiatkowski, Mike Moss, and Josh Stella. Nate Lutz is the athletic trainer right to the front of the net again. Shane Kwiatkowski, Drew Schweigert buzzing the tower of Malin. Christian's having a hard time getting out of its own end. When they set it up, the Eagles look pretty good on the power play, but that's the thing. You got to get it going north here. And the Cougars' forecheck has stymied them to this point for the most part. To the outside, just 4 seconds to go on this power play. Holloman coming out of the box. He's replaced by Nate Sova, who comes charging into the action. Sova makes himself available, but Berta simply lofts it over the top. And wide of the goal, icing against Catholic Central. Westrick takes a spill after the stoppage. Luke Alfman was trying to body him off the puck in case icing wasn't called. It was close. If it goes on net, it's waved off. 6:01 remaining in the second period. It's been an exciting game so far. The Cougars scored twice in 16 seconds. They've made a habit of bunching the goals together this season, too. I suppose that'll happen when you've got 21 now through 3.5 games. Miles Van Banen couldn't get the shot through after the clean face-off win by the Eagles. Counterattack is on for Catholic Central. Sova left it in the corner, yanked it back to Mulvey. Mulvey back to his buddy Nate Sova. Little saucer pass in the middle, but Nemesek had already swung back out to the far side boards. But he picks off the exit pass, does Nemesek, and he finds Sova in the corner. The cycle game is on for one of the few times tonight. Holloman, Alex Sager, shooting, deflected, and Malin has it. Sova got a piece, maybe even with his skate as opposed to his stick. Led to a change-up situation. That can fool a goaltender sometimes. You take enough steam off the shot. 5:32 remaining in the second. Hopefully this is the only time this year I'll have to bring a game to you via tape delay, if you will. Hey, it was good enough for the NBA Finals for a few years there in the early 80s, late 70s, I believe it was. Used to be quite the thing, not in the era of live streaming. Offside against the Eagles as they broke back toward the Cougars' net. It's an interesting color combination for Christian. I can't say it's the most pleasing to the eye for me, the black with the light blue. Kind of harsh when you look at the contrast there. Better watch myself, that's my wife's alma mater. Backhanded right to the front, and Goheen has to make a stop on Van Banen's try. Or pardon me, that was Landon Smith, the freshman from West Catholic. And players come together at the front. Hey, my high school's mascot was the Blue Dawns. No one knows what a dawn is. It's a knight, Spanish knight, as it turns out. Guess that sounded more exotic than knights. Although if you're a basketball fan, way back in the day, Bill Russell went to the University of San Francisco, which is nicknamed the Dawns as well. So there's your trivia contest answer for the evening. Outwater couldn't get a touch on this clear. It's icing again against the Cougs. And Malin shows off his shooting skill. I feel like most goalies these days can really snap it around the ice. And when done right, it can be a big help to a defense corps, especially when you're going back for pucks. Can almost add a third defenseman to that retrieval game. Bates doesn't need another D-man here. He goes over to the far wing to Schweigert around the horn. He gives Outwater, gets around a check. Outwater's got a man going to the net, and he couldn't slide it through to Westrick. Westrick gets it again. He's got Schweigert uncovered in the low slot for a moment. Eagles weren't figuring out who had him, but now Schweigert ends up with it on this near side. He coughed it up. Lost control to Brady Basor. Goes cross-wing to Smith. Basor is going right to the net. Kwiatkowski has him covered as Basor is checked hard by Bates. Bates continues to work him over as Kwiatkowski feeds it off to Bates. 4.5 to go in the second period. Drew Schweigert with some time and space suddenly. Hooks up with Outwater. Lead pass. Well, he thought Westrick had some gas left in the tank. Wasn't the case. Outwater will continue in on the forecheck. And crushing Alfman, but the helmet of Alfman comes off, and that's an automatic whistle here in Michigan high school hockey. 4:07 left before the second break. It wasn't an out of the ordinary hit, but Alfman's lid must have been a little bit dislodged, or maybe it's just not strapped on as tightly as it should be. To an extent, it's on the player to keep that on the up and up. An attack zone draw for the Cougars from the left circle. Mulvey dragged it back, looking for Nemesek, but he couldn't settle it. To the outside goes Joshua Hooper, right to the front with that one. That's the fourth or fifth time the Eagles have tried that play. Just charge down the wing and fire it to the slot. This is deflected into the netting on this near wing. The puck stayed in play, as it often will, coming off this net. Not the white netting, but the black netting, so maybe visibility a little bit affected for those of you watching tonight. I know it makes a difference in person. You wouldn't think it does, but the brain has a little bit of a harder time piecing together what's going on behind a darker net like this one. Colton Loffer took the shot from the sharp angle. Save made by Goheen, rebound, and he's got that one too, and he holds on. Best chance for the Eagles in a while. But Trent Goheen's equal to that task. His follow-up save was on Josh Van Scheppen, who had 2 goals and 8 points last season. Christian returns 10 skaters and 1 goaltender, Malin from last season's team. That, as I mentioned, fell to Granville in the second round of the regional playoffs. Van Scheppen hoists this one below the goal line. Berta lassos it. He's got Holloman. He finds him, but the puck wouldn't settle down for him. Now Colton Loffer trying to go right out in front of the net, but that pass was blocked by Berta. That was clutch because he had his man on the backside. That was Van Scheppen. Van Scheppen and Colton Loffer are working well together right now, and Colton Loffer keeps the puck alive. Off the wall, taking the shot, Hooper, and it's deflected into the screen. One of the best 5-on-5 shifts in a long time, maybe all game for Christian, in fact, and all they need is 1 to go in now to give us a new hockey game. 3:08 left in the second. Cam Loffer will take this face-off for Christian against his opposite number for Catholic Central, Ryder Mulvey. Back to the point. Eaton slams one on a rolling puck that missed everything. Below the goal line. Mulvey working for it. Still charging now into the near corner. Tapped it along. Hacked at by Nemesek. He couldn't clear. Mulvey takes it now. Ryder Mulvey lead pass to Sova. Hammered down to the ice on a clean body check by Cullen Peel. But the Cougars keep on going. No penalty there. The student section to my right wanted it with Mulvey tripped up. Now Nemesek trying to reach out from his knees, but he couldn't make the pass over to Sova, who had moved to the near wing. 2:30 to go in the second period, pardon me. Icing call against the Eagles, even though they were all over that dump-in. Brady Basor got there. I kind of wish, for continuity's sake, for flow's sake, that they would institute the hybrid icing at this level, maybe someday. They do have 2 lines people to adjudicate it. If you just have 1 or you just have 2 hybrid referee lines people, I realize that's more difficult. But with 4 officials on the ice, they should be able to make that work. I think it's better for the game, too. You don't want all these whistles. Hooper's lead pass. Guess what? Another icing. Another time that Christian was probably going to be able to catch up to that puck, but it doesn't matter. So Shane Kwiatkowski makes his season debut for the Cougars. We're just waiting on Ian Schweigert now. Still out with an upper body injury that he suffered late in preseason camp or practice. I don't know if it really is a camp. but you know what I mean. You hate to have that happen in practice, but sometimes that's just how it goes. Hoffer, hopping on that one and bounding it into the corner. The Cougars have to go chase now. Bates beating out his man, Loffer to the puck. That was Colton Loffer. As Sean Zimmerman, the coach for Christian, sends this line right back out there. Why not? 2 to go in the second. From the far wing, Van Banen put it in the middle. Looking for Van Scheppen. That bounces over his stick. Loffer banged into it. Careens off the outside of the net before it's picked up by Kwiatkowski, who settles things down and turns it up ice. Kwiatkowski checked hard by Spencer Berg, the defenseman for Christian. It's been a pretty physical game, actually. Good skating by Mikas. Took the shot. Trent Goheen equal to the task as Mikas charges in on net, and the Cougars didn't like that very much, even though I don't think he sprayed any ice, but he got pretty close to Goheen looking for a rebound with 1:24 remaining in the second. Gotta love the buzz in the building tonight. The Christian fans taking a first look at the 2022-23 edition of their Eagles. This is a school that supports its athletic teams just like Catholic Central does. You love to see that. Here's a chance coming off the wall. Back in front, score! And the Eagles have tied it on the centering pass. I believe it was Van Scheppen who hammered it home from the doorstep. Pardon me, it's Basor. So keep that puck. Brody Basor scores his first goal as an Eagle, and we're tied at 2. A 2-goal rally for Christian in the latter half of the second period. Ended up being an open net as the Cougars couldn't cover the backdoor pass. And we do have that new hockey game that Christian's been pushing for. All the goals tonight at even strength. We're tied at 2 with 1:20 remaining in the period. Holloman, now Nemesek, and it's on the Cougars to maintain that composure and keep on coming. They've been effective tonight. You could say maybe against the run of play that Christian has tied it. Cam Loffer gets the primary assist on first accounting. Sova, 1 against 2. Poked away from him, but over in the corner, Ryder Mulvey keeps things alive. Here's Nemesek following on. First line out there for Grand Rapids Catholic Central. Sova, with 40 seconds to go in the period, couldn't make that pass out to the point. Berta's got a backpedal, as does Holloman. This is gunned in by Josh Hooper. Sova fields it at the half wall. Then he takes a bump again. They're running into Sova every chance they can get. Alfman gave it away. Nemesek relays it forward. 23 seconds left. Taken away behind the net from the goaltender Malin by Sova. Fed it behind. Westrick cuts inside. A stuff attempt. And it's stopped by Malin. Hasn't made a save in a couple of minutes, but he did there. 10 seconds left before the intermission. Far side shot goes wide of the net. Look out. Put right out in front. No one home for Christian. And Schweigert clears. Bounces down the ice. Short of the icing line, but it doesn't matter as time expires in the second period. 4 goals on the board. 2 for CC. Then 2 for Grand Rapids Christian. And we'll go to the third, all knotted up at 2 here on Cougar Puck Radio. Keep it right here. Grand Rapids Catholic Central was out here for a solid minute and a half waiting for Christian. The Cougars were on time when the intermission clock expired, but the home team had a few more things to talk over. Head coach Sean Zimmerman behind the bench, along with assistant coaches Dan Quain, Steve Carden, Pat Fitzgibbon, and Jack Zwires. They even have a goalie coach, Dave DeSander, on their official roster sheet. Thanks to the folks here at Eagles Ice Center. They tried their best to get me on the air live, but there's only so much you can do. There's some sort of a network issue here, even if you're on the Wi-Fi. Just would not let me send out enough data to stream this game live, so oh well. Plan B, the archive version, the recorded version. If you're watching it after the fact, probably just as exciting as if you were watching it live. If you refrain from seeing the result, that is. Sometimes if I even know the result, I still like to watch the game. See how it all played out. That's a big part of the fun, isn't it? We play 5-on-5 to start the third period. 17 minutes loaded on the clock. The Eagles had the puck briefly, but now it's coughed up to Outwater. Tried to center that one for Westrick. But Westrick, who scored the first goal of this game, couldn't make any headway. Back comes Landon Smith. Working here down to the right against Preston Berta. He laid it in behind the net to Cam Loffer. Westrick and Holloman, the goal scorers for Catholic. For Christian, it's been Josh Trent and Brody Basor. Drive from the outside. That nearly ended up being a pass on the stick of Smith, cutting through the low slot, but luckily for Catholic Central, it just bounced harmlessly to the corner. 45 seconds gone in period number 3. This is Matt Gajtka on the broadcast on Cougar Puck Radio. Outwater had a man going to the net. Westrick, but instead it came to Shane Kwiatkowski. High-rising shot. Knocked down in front, or nearly knocked down in front by Westrick. He's trying to bat it out of the air. That would have been an interesting decision if he knocked it in, because that puck was right about even with the crossbar, which is the determining point for whether it's legal to bat a puck in. Your stick has to be at least level with the crossbar, if not below it. Holloman pivoting back. Good little move there. Shifty to create some time for himself. And now he gets it back on the give and go from Nemesek. Henry Holloman, who scored in the second period with a long wrist shot. Unable to center that puck from behind the net. And the Eagles go to work looking to move it up ice. Miles Van Banen on the overlap play. They do force it out to center with the help of Colton Loffer. It's in the skates of Henry Holloman. This is the first game of the season for the Eagles. Holloman with a strong check. Gets his pound of flesh against Loffer. So the Cougars strike back. And if you're looking for someone to lay a hit, it's going to be number 18. Big blast way over the goal from Josh Trent, who scored from much closer in the second period. Puck takes an odd carom, just lays dead on the ice, so Nemesek couldn't really move that out. Cougars try this near wing, and they'll find some room. Nate Sova crunched, sandwiched, in fact, by 3 Eagles. Sova almost got the puck back, and he will hop on it here in front of his own bench. Spinning it back against the grain. Alex Sager has some room to skate, so he will. Shooting in on the wrist play. Nemesek decides to go off for a line change as well. Colin Hoffer couldn't flag down that aerial pass from the Eagles, but Shane Kwiatkowski will, deep in his own end. Up for Hoffer, one of the co-captains of the Cougars. Senior forward. Moved it on over for Schetz, but he was dispossessed. Potter, Hoffer, and Schetz the line out there. Veteran line, all 3 players, at least in their second season. Actually, Schetz and Hoffer are playing their third seasons for Mike Slobodnik. 14-13 left in a, so far, stoppage-less third period. And there's going to be a penalty here against Connor Schetz. One of the Eagles drew it as he went down to the ice. Jack Mikas effectively leaned in and I think just felt that little tug and got the call. Holding with 13:53 to go in regulation time, and now a precarious moment for the Cougars, who killed off the first penalty against them, but that was when they were still leading by 1. Now we're in a tie score. Connor Schetz to the box. Senior forward sits for 2 for holding. All 4 goals in this game were scored in the second period. Nothing yet in this one, obviously, as it's bumped ahead by Mulvey and out. And Nate Sova pokes it. He's in alone, and he's stopped. Blocker save that time from Mellon. His glove has been so key in this game to really keeping the Cougars from breaking it open early. And now Mellon puts his hands up with Sova forward checking. Nate Sova had a couple of shorthanded goals last year. He's already scored 1 this season, and that close to 2 on the pass from Mulvey. But close not good enough in this game, as we all know. Holloman looking to chip it along. Had his stick lifted from behind the net. Van Scheppen right out in front, intercepted by Sova, defending well, and he hacks it forward. Down the ice it goes, of course, icing the puck legal while shorthanded. Malin had that puck nearly get away from him in front of the net as Nemesek gets on it. Nolan Nemesek 4 goals on the year, 1 behind Zach Westrick for the team lead. Nemesek has multiple points in back-to-back games. That streak is in jeopardy right now. He's been held off the score sheet so far. Backhand goes wide of Trent Goheen, who watches it with a wary eye as Nemesek slams it around the kick plate and all the way down. We're in the second minute of the penalty to Connor Schetz for holding. The Cougars have not played a game this year that's been tied in the third period, so here we are, our first one. Easy clear by Westrick, who spun back toward his own goal and cracked it on the forehand. Schweigert pressuring, giveaway. Outwater, his shorthanded chance. He's stopped by Malin as well. Outwater gets it back to the point. Bates, look out, he's harassed from behind, but he could not keep the puck in. I thought he did for a second, but it drifted out over the blue. Only 14 seconds to go on this Christian power play, their second of the night, and this pass is errant, and this pass goes for an icing. I thought it was going to be whistled. I waited for a moment, didn't hear it, so I figured it was waved off. It was not. Just a late call from the linesman on the far side. Trent Goheen and Braden Malin locked in a duel here tonight. This is by far the lowest scoring game that Catholic Central has played in this year. 10 goals scored in the first game, a 6-4 loss to West Ottawa. 8 goals scored in the second game, all of them scored by Catholic Central in the win against Granville at home. And then 7-2 against Kennewa Hills. Scramble in front of the net as the power play is over for Christian. They're 0 for 2. The Cougars have killed off now 11 of 12 on the season. Over 90% kill rate. In case you're wondering, that's really good. Still early, but a good start for that unit. Given away by Nemesek. Bodies banged together. Bates took the blast. That was deflected over to the far side. Kwiatkowski, a high rising shot. Blockered into the atmosphere by Malin. Feels like Shane Kwiatkowski's going to get one tonight. He has been all over it on both ends of the ice, really, as he bumps one of the Eagles and sends that rush offside. Laid the hip check on Josh Van Scheppen, and that disrupted the timing of that counterattack with 11:18 to go in the third. Our next broadcast coming up, I believe it's an 8 o'clock start. Yes, it is, from Griff's Ice House at Belknap Park. If you can't make it down to Belknap Park, you can watch the Cougars take on Rockford for the first of 2 times this season. Last year, 2 really competitive games against the Rams, including that 6-5 overtime win for Catholic Central. Unforgettable game. I would call it the game of the year last season that occurred on the first weekend of the season. Sometimes that's how it happens. Westrick tangled up with one of the Eagles. No penalty. Ruled to be incidental contact there. Farmer backhands it below the goal line for Christian. Sager swatted it away, but here's Farmer again. Centering that pass, looking for Dane Fitzgibbon, but it's broken up. Schweigert charging back. He's got Outwater going to the net, but he couldn't get the pass through. Outwater was home free. That's 4 or 5 times the Cougars have had a backside rusher untouched, uncovered. Berta lobs this one in on net. Malin makes that save. It was on a delayed offside, so it wouldn't have counted. And, well, it works out well for the Cougars because Malin decides to keep it. Even though he didn't have to, he could have moved that without consequence with the delayed offside because Catholic Central had not yet tagged up. I believe that was the case, at least there. Luke Goheen, Sam Moore, and Max Gavorkian go out for Catholic Central. The face-off won back to the point, but picked up by Christian. Landon Smith driving to the outside. His pass broken up by Berta. Put it on net, and a stick save by Goheen as he preemptively, I should say, swatted that to the corner. Mikas, his little backhand hook pass finds Smith on the far side. Below the goal line in Van Scheppen. Back to Smith. Now Smith goes to the front of the net as the pass from Loffer goes right by everybody and all the way down back to our left with under 10 to play in regulation. Malin pass to his defenseman. Look out, broken up by Moore as he skates into the corner, but a penalty behind the play. Roughing is the call, and Shane Kwiatkowski, folks, I didn't see it, but he goes right to the box, so he's not disputing it. That's now 3 straight penalties against the Cougars, 2 here in the third period, and with one of their top penalty killers in the bin. That's our first non-hockey related penalty, if you will, of the game, something that isn't related to stick work or interference. So the Christian Eagles get their third power play. They've scored the last 2 goals in this game. Holloman took out the skates of one of the Christian attackers, Van Scheppen, but play allowed to continue. To the point, wrist shot, deflected save by Goheen, and Eaton got that one through from the blue line. Here's Sova taking this. Pardon, that was Colin Peel, actually, and Peel is back to this puck first after his goaltender, Malin, tapped it along to him. Up the ice come the Eagles with a head of steam. Hooper to the outside, swirling around the net. He's got Peel out in the point area. He gave it to him, but the whistle sounds, and the net dislodged off at least one of its pegs. Might have been a break for Catholic Central as the Eagles were moving with speed, passing it with pace. So, the draw's still in their zone, but they get a chance to reset. Nemesek couldn't win that one. It's back to the line. Peel on the give. Over near side. Jake Eaton lost control of the puck. Blasted around by Nemesek. He took no prisoners on that clear. One of the harder shooters on the Cougars. You figured he could probably pull that one off from the near side, swinging it all the way around the horn. 1 minute to go on the penalty to Shane Kwiatkowski. Cougars locked in a 2-2 game with the Christian Eagles. This is Matt Gajtka broadcasting on Cougar Puck Radio. Tape-delayed version of tonight's game. Another clear, this time by Outwater. It's been a penalty-killing effort to remember so far. Not a lot given up by the Cougars shorthanded tonight. And this goes for an icing. That trend will continue on for at least the next handful of seconds. Exactly halfway through, or almost exactly halfway through the third period. 8:27 to go in it. The Catholic Central Cougars are at 2-1 on the season. They carry a 2-game win streak into this Thanksgiving Eve matchup with Grand Rapids Christian. And the Cougars have won 3 straight times in the all-time series. Twice at Southside, including last year, 5-0. Grant Kuykendall's unforgettable 4-goal game, part of a 20-goal season for him. He's graduated along with Andrew Wormuth, and Gabe Sova, Liam Watt. The Cougars lost 4 key players. The transition is on here early in the season. In fact, Gabe has taken over the camera work for us for the second time this year. Working to the outside, passing the skates of Mikas. And Braden Bates clears off the window. Down it goes. The Cougars survive another Christian power play. They're 3 for 3 on the PK, are the visitors. Down under 8 minutes now to go in the third period. Sager traipses back to take this one. He thought it was going to be an icing. Instead, it's going to be an icing against the Cougars. On a little bit of confusion there. That'll drag the draw back down to our right. The Grand Rapids Christian Eagles are missing 4 West Catholic football players. This is a co-op team. It's a disappointment for Catholic Central, of course, to not have the Cougars back in the state football championship game again this week at Ford Field. Another icing against Catholic Central. And we have a little bit of a hug given from Nate Sova to Luke Alfman. So those two went back for that puck together, and as it turned out, it was a moot chase for it. 7:21 to go. We've had some long stretches without whistles in this game. We've had some periods, especially in the second period, when play bogged down, teams icing the puck quite a bit. This is the first game of the season for Grand Rapids Christian. Looking pretty competitive, if I do say so myself. Shane Kwiatkowski out of the box first shift. Lost the puck. Left it behind at center. Colton Loffer to the outside. Sharp angle chance. Goheen had it all measured. He had that glove up in front of his face almost. Trying to pass it to the near side where the Eagles. There was Van Banen deflected in front of the net. Colton Loffer got a touch on that shot from Alfman, but it hopped wide to the left. Now Nemesek. He's scored in all 3 games so far this year. Mulvey in the slot. Nate Sova working behind the net. Lost control of the puck on the check from Christian. The pass up in the direction of the Christian bench. A little bit of a nervous moment there for the Eagles. Didn't want to get caught with too many men on the ice. That often happens in those situations. To the front of the net. The pass was in the skates of Colton Loffer. He couldn't turn it over for the Eagles. 6:16 left in this third period. It's been a great game tonight. Thank you for joining us on Cougar Puck Radio. Sova tosses this one into the screen, out of play, and that'll keep the face-off in the defensive zone. That group of students standing down to your right are Catholic Central students who made the trip across town. Well, who knows where they live, of course, but across town from campus to get down here. Not a bad drive is what I'm saying. They took the home advantage on the road. Puck up for grabs in the slot. Van Banen tried to get it toward the front for Christian. No sale. And now Westrick, who scored the first goal tonight, kicks it ahead. He's tripped up, nearly slew-footed, but no call made there. This is deflected just over the red line by Fitzgibbon. In behind the Cougars' goal, Goheen slugs it along to the far side. Following on, Nemesek to get it out. And the Cougars might have something here. It's Drew Schweigert dragging and shooting, and it's right into the glove of Braden Malin. He hangs on with 5:38 remaining. Well, overtime starting to lurk here. We do have tie games in Michigan high school hockey, but not until we play 8 minutes of 4-on-4, in case you're wondering. So they give it a real honest try to settle it without resorting to 3-on-3. I don't think 3-on-3 is a very good product at this level. In the NHL, it can definitely work. It takes a lot of skill to make 3-on-3 entertaining to watch, though. I'm not saying these players don't have that, but we're talking about the top level of the game, and even sometimes there, it's a little drab if the teams don't attack. But we're not there yet. Still at 5-on-5. Late stages, third period now. Landon Smith confronted by Preston Berta. More good work from Berta, the junior, second-year varsity player. But he couldn't get it out on the far wing side. Schetz is all over his check like a glove, but the puck still comes in behind the net. And another whistle for a net dislodgement. Or a dislodging. Jack Mikas was right there on the post. I think he was the guilty man with exactly 5 to go in the third. Just reached 8 o'clock on this night before Thanksgiving. This game was initially supposed to start right about now, but it was bumped up a couple of hours the day before. Sova wiped out on a check. Again, the Eagles are throwing the body around. They have the edge in hits for whatever that's worth. Sometimes it's not a lot. In this case, it's definitely keeping the energy up in the building. And looks like the Christian students all the way down to my left are starting to stand now to match their Catholic Central counterparts. Another icing call, though, against the visitors tonight from Eagles Ice Center. It's been a fun one. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sova couldn't clear, taking the shot and wristing Colton Loffer way over the goal. Backdoor pass. Christians had a couple of ideas similar to that tonight. Of course, the one did connect to Brody Basor, in his first varsity game, scoring on the back door to tie this game at 2 late in the second period. Nothing since then on the score sheet for either side. And we're now down under 4:20 left in the third. Turnover. Sova, Nemesek, back to Sova, trying to get a shot off. Shoots one, glove, save, and a stylish one from Malin. Nothing further. Well, Braden Malin, you can tell he likes to use the glove hand. That black trapper tonight has been effective, to say the least. It's one of the better gloves I've seen at this level, to be honest. Hallman shooting, save in front, score! Guess who? Zach Westrick on the rebound, 4:03 left. Catholic Central leads it. Hallman wristing it from the point after the Zach Westrick face-off win, and then that man Westrick went right to the blue paint for the tidy finish behind Braden Malin, and the Cougars have their lead back. That's a biggie. That's a good bingo for Zach Westrick, his second of the game. 5 goals in his last 2 games. 6 on the season. Could that be the winner? With just over 4 minutes to play, Westrick took the shot, breaking in. He wanted another one, wanted another hat trick. Holloman gets the only assist. Turnover. Drew Schweiger trying to catch up to this puck in the slot, but it's bopped away from him. Breaking back, Landon Smith to the outside. Wants to get a shot off. It was off target, but still, Goheen made the save just to be sure. Smith, who's been good in this game. Banging bodies. Left it behind for Miles Van Banen. 3-2 Catholic Central on the Zach Westrick even strength goal. His second of the game. The puck hops loose. Can the Cougars clear? They will. Nemesek got it out, and he asked for a line change desperately. 3:02 remaining. Holloman with a nice clear. Ripped wide of the goal by Colin Peel. Here are the Cougars again, and it's an intentional offside. The Eagles never cleared the zone, and they were given ample time to do so. That helps the Cougars' cause. 2:54 remaining in the third. It's been close in terms of gameplay over the last period plus, but I'd say overall in the night, this feels like the right score at the moment. Kwiatkowski well wide with this shot. Too many bodies in front to get that through. The last thing you want to do is get it blocked out high in this situation and lead to something going back the other way. So I think a responsible shot selection, if you want to even call it that, from Shane Kwiatkowski. Battles on. Seconds ticking away. Tick, tick, tick. 2:30 remaining in the third. Westrick pushed it deep. The Cougars bench loves it. They bang on the boards. And Zach Westrick skates off for a line change. This puck ends up in the Christian bench across the rink to our left. Zach Westrick and Henry Holloman with 2 points apiece tonight. The good times continue to roll for them. And we'll see about the Cougars' win streak. Trying to make it 3 in a row early on this season after an opening loss to West Ottawa. Nemesek with a backhand shovel play. Comes on to Mulvey, but he couldn't get that hard wrister through. And the Eagles have done well to protect their goalie, too. They haven't let a ton of those shots make it all the way in. And when they have, of course, Malin's been pretty good tonight. He's kept this one very competitive. Smith's pass to the middle, up for grabs, but Lawfer couldn't get it. Nate Sova back the other way. Just got over the red line, and the puck never got to the goal line anyway. Under 2 to go in the third. Westrick again out there. Mike Slobodnik's given him every opportunity to close this one out. I'll keep an eye on the goaltender, Malin, to my left as the play comes up ice to Smith, who's wiped out after he let that shot go. Braylon Outwater. Oh, and that's going to be a penalty. That might be boarding, in fact. Roughing is the call. Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know about that. I don't think Outwater used excessive force on that play with 1:28 to go, but that's going to make the final 88 seconds really interesting. Back-to-back roughing calls called against the Cougars in this third period. This is their third time shorthanded, and now I wonder about a timeout perhaps for Mike Slobodnik. Hurts to lose Outwater as well because he's such a tenacious forechecker. So Slobodnik keeps the timeout in his pocket. The faceoff won by Mulvey to Holloman. He couldn't clear up the far side. Christian with a chance to tie it on the power play, and it's a 6-on-4. Slap shot, save Goheen, loose puck. Mulvey drives it down and out. Josh Trent powered it on net. Mulvey's clear, almost goes in the open net. So Malin's on the bench. 6 attackers for Christian. We're down to 1:06 to go in this game, perhaps, or just regulation. I'll keep it at that for now. Mulvey with great work at the tip of the spear to keep the puck down to the left side of the ice. Hooper tried to shoot it forward. Nemesek knocked it out of the air with a high stick. It's going to be blown dead as he shoots it wide anyway. The referee was on top of that, and that unfortunately brings the faceoff back with 50 seconds to go into Cougars territory. If the Cougars don't allow a goal, they'll be shorthanded for the rest of this game. They'll be all right with that. The one good thing about this situation, and there is one, is that you can clear the length of the ice with impunity. Timeout, Grand Rapids Christian, with 50 seconds left. I had to figure one of these two teams was going to want to stop play if given an opportunity. And so it'll be Sean Zimmerman choosing to go to the marker board, but so will Slobodnik and his Cougars coaching staff. Recapping the scoring, Zach Westrick and Henry Holloman scored 16 seconds apart in the opening minute of the second period to make it 2-0 Catholic Central. Then Grand Rapids Christian got one back. Josh Trent cleaning up a rebound in front. 3 minutes after they had fallen behind 2-0, the Eagles made it 2-1. Then with 1:20 remaining in the second period, the first varsity goal for Brody Basor, sophomore forward, tied it up off a pass from Colton Loffer. It was 2-2. In this third period, the two sides battled back and forth. A couple of breakaway chances, in fact, for Catholic Central. Sova and Outwater, neither one could bury. Instead, it ends up being off a face-off win in the offensive zone with 4:08 left. Zach Westrick pounding in the rebound of a Holloman point shot from the right side of the crease for a 3-2 lead. That's where we stand right now with 50.4 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock. Trent Goheen's been solid tonight. He's probably going to have to make at least one more save, you figure, to lock this one up. It'll be Westrick on the draw. The Cougars also have Holloman, Nemesek, and Shane Kwiatkowski killing the penalty. The Eagles with 6 attackers on. Looks like 4 of them are forwards, 2 are defensemen. Nemesek hacks it out, but it goes into the bench. Oh my gosh, what a bad break there. It keeps the face-off at the same dot. Well, everything went right except for the bounce of the puck in the end. That's hockey sometimes. 44.8 seconds remaining. To the middle, Nemesek again, strong on that stick, but it comes out to the Eagles at the point. To the near side, Trent couldn't handle it, tried to shoot it, blocked by Nemesek. He lifts it down the ice and softly, doesn't matter, it's no icing right now as Westrick tries to hack at it, falling on the ice. And for a moment I was fearing icing, but there is none with the Cougars shorthanded. Goes free to Nemesek, he scores! Shorthanded, empty net goal, Nolan Nemesek, 4-2 Catholic Central, and that's going to just about do it from the Eagles Ice Center on this Thanksgiving Eve. Nemesek and Westrick. Nolan Nemesek has scored in all 4 games this year, at least 1 point. That's a big goal. Like I mentioned, shorthanded, empty netter, 25 seconds to play. I don't know if Westrick will get an assist on that. He was forechecking hard, though. In the end, we know who gets the credit for it, for helping the play happen. It just would not be denied. Those two at the top of that PK formation. Goheen reaches out. The Eagles got one there quickly. It could have still been dramatic. Instead, Kwiatkowski rings it around the wall, but not out. Kept in by Alfman. Down low, shot in by Fitzgibbon. But Kwiatkowski is going to try to sit on this one. Down to 1 second. And Catholic Central's won 3 in a row. They beat their rivals from across town. Grand Rapids Christian. Cougars win. Cougars win 4-2. They're 3-1 on the season. And they mob Trent Goheen. That's an emotional win for the boys in white. Thank you so much for watching on Cougar Puck Radio. Zach Westrick ends up getting the game winner. Nolan Nemesek capped it off. Yes, to make it 4-2 as the two sides convene at center ice for the handshake. Thanks again to Andrew Wormuth and Gabe Sova for teaming up on the camera work tonight. Our next broadcast is coming up 8 o'clock on Saturday after the turkey. Join us for some Cougars hockey as they'll play Rockford for the first of 2 times this year at Griff's Ice House at Belknap Park. And like I said, pretty confident we'll have the internet connection sufficient enough to do a live broadcast there, but I'm glad you watched tonight's show either way. It's been my pleasure to bring it to you. This is Matt Gajtka saying good night from Eagles Ice Center in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Have a fantastic holiday, and I'll talk to you on the other side. Bye for now.